Coin. Hold up on my Nakamoto.
Hello, welcome everybody to the Blockchain Dynamic Show.
Hello out there, thanks for stopping by.
My name is Brandon Doge.
And I'm Woody.
We're kicking it here. It is Sunday, May 13th, 2018.
Episode number 94. And as usual, this content is presented for entertainment purposes only and in no way should be considered financial advice.
Indeed.
We also have another giveaway today, another 250 wager, thanks to blockaudit.org on Twitter.
Yeah, they do code reviews, penetration testing, consultation for developers. Just kind of trying to help people make more solid projects. Check out blockaudit.org there. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much for sponsoring the trivia question. Last week's question was how many days passed between Litecoin being listed on GDAX and Coinbase? The answer to that, of course, was 253 days.
Indeed, so congrats to the winner there. And then we'll have another trivia question later in the show, as usual, sometime in the middle of the show.
Yep.
You can get yourself another 250 wager. We also have a special guest next week. Noose is going to come on the show.
Yep, looking forward to that.
Hang out with him for an hour. It's going to be fun.
Cool. So welcome to the show.
And that's going to, let's go right into the news.
The first top of the news was that the ETH meeting that everyone, including us, was talking about last week was not quite what most people were expecting.
It seems like going back and reading the articles on it, they seem to have portrayed it fairly accurately, and it kind of seems like the community, maybe myself included, perhaps read too much into it or made a mountain out of a molehill, or as the case may be.
Well, yeah, it certainly seems like people that were hoping for anything were disappointed, and yeah, some people seem to think that maybe the Wall Street Journal article where things were originated was made up or something, but I agreed with you when I read it. It seems like they were pretty straightforward, and coming down to around the use of the word work group to describe this meeting basically kind of puts it in a category of the type of meeting that nobody really would care about if it wasn't cryptocurrency, and people kind of viewing these long legal processes like a football game on TV waiting for the next move.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the best way to compare it. It's like we were expecting this to be a move, but it's just it's like a commercial break, more like it. But at any rate, so I guess someday we'll find out if Ethereum is a security, but
you wish.
not this day, not this week.
No. And I think the impact of that ruling is just going to become less and it's not going to be some abrupt thing, I guess, as we get closer to whatever it might be, is my guess.
And it's like the longer it gets dragged out, the more time people will have to price in or anticipate the conclusion. So
yeah. All right. Another fun or interesting piece of news. Upbit, South Korean exchange, was raided by the South Korean authorities.
It's always fun when exchanges get raided by their local authorities. In this case, they are under investigation for undisclosed crimes.
There's like different kinds of raids. We were talking about, there's in my mind, there's one type of raid where a SWAT team comes into a building, and then there's another type of raid where people are in suits, probably, is my guess.
Yeah, I think the raid with the SWAT team, shooting the dog and stuff, I think that's more of a American thing. I think we came up with that.
Oh, well, either way, it sounds like this raid was pretty normal, and all of Upbit's operations also remain normal at this time. They acknowledge that they're under investigation for something, and it sounds like they're cooperating with that investigation as well. I would guess that's in their best interest, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What's their alternative? Upbit is not cooperating with the investigation. Yeah. Right. Yeah, we don't really have too much info on this right now. There's a lot of speculation about some MT Gox style stuff where potential misuse of customer funds and that kind of stuff. But
it sounds like the investigation is most likely something related to the internal workings of the company itself or something like that.
But yeah, without more info, I'm reluctant to speculate too much on it.
But people did speculate on it having an effect on the price at the time.
Yeah, the theory is that the anytime the market dumps, people have to have a reason for it. And
They love that. Yeah, that's true.
This news came out like midway through the price drop for Bitcoin this week, and so it kind of, it gets tagged.
Maybe
with
just convenient.
And it's it's kind of like we had mentioned last week with the securities. If the market needs to go down, it'll find an excuse, or whatever happens to happen this week will become the excuse. And so whether this is a driver or just coincidental, of course, we don't have enough information to really determine. But
cool. So Upbit, we'll see how that investigation continues.
I think the fear that people have with this kind of thing is more, it has to do with just people are afraid of the whole market being over leveraged. That's like the genesis of a lot of the fear that people have with like the Tether FUD and that kind of stuff is, if Tether's, if they're using Tether to leverage the market, it could be inflating the Bitcoin market cap by this amount. That's the fear that people are going to have with situations like this Upbit too. But historically, as we saw with Mt. Gox, which was leveraging the market quite a bit, the market, if it deleverages, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't want to see it, and a lot of people would.
Some people would love it.
Get wrecked by it.
Some people would hate it. Yeah.
If there really is a big deleveraging happening here associated with Upbit, and this is the extent of the damage, then we're going to be in really good shape. But
yeah, that's true.
So it'll be interesting to see what the actual outcome of this is.
Yep, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it. Our next news segment, we have to see if there's anything interesting going on in CZ's life this week, the head of Binance.
That's right. We've taken it upon ourselves as our solemn duty here at Blockchain Dynamics to keep you guys informed on what CZ is up to. He kept it a little quiet this week. Quieter week from CZ than the past couple weeks.
Yeah, he's been keeping it on the home front, but he did take time to throw some beef at Sequoia, which I guess is a really big company, sounds like.
It's a big venture capital company. They tried to buy Binance. They tried to get a stake in Binance last year. It didn't work out. Binance blew up. And now they tried to sue Binance, like to force them to give them the stake or something like that.
Yeah, that's basically what I understood too.
It's funny because as a trader, it's like, you see this and you're like, okay, they set a low bid on Binance. It didn't fill. Binance ran away from them. We're used to that, and it's like in our life, you just move on for it. It's kind of like a typical old meat space capital move to be like, oh, our bid didn't fill on Binance, so we're gonna sue them. Like, we're gonna sue them to force them to sell the coin. It's just stupid stuff.
It sounds like that was dismissed too.
Yeah, their suit was dismissed, and so the CZ, the where's CZ connection to all this is that he's saying that it potentially any coin that applies to Binance is going to have to disclose their relationship with Sequoia because he's just that
really doesn't want anything to do with them. All right,
and there's CZ.
See you next week, CZ.
Next in the news this week, this just dropped today, but it's getting a lot of buzz. It's an article about mining centralization from the Secert Coin developer, kind of a reflection on his experiences that they've had trying to develop an ASIC for Secert Coin. A really good article, some really interesting points.
You can search for the state of cryptocurrency mining for it if you need to.
Yep, or you can go to blog.cia.tech. But yeah, it's easy to find these days. It's all over Twitter.
Yep.
The main point of it is that this idea that you can algorithmically defeat ASICs is probably not going to pan out in the long run, and also that it's unlikely, essentially that there's unlikely to be any effective method to decentralize mining. No matter what happens, the people who produce the miners are going to have essentially all of the cards, and that they makes a very compelling case for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just kind of an interesting thing to look at, I guess, in terms of the direction that mining is going in. It has been centralizing for a long time, so I think this is really just more of a wake-up call for people to be like, hey, this is what's been happening. Don't be fooled into thinking that it's something else.
Right. Because people get worried that when all the power falls into smaller hands, then they can do things maliciously or work against the best interests of everybody else somehow. Yeah,
it's antithetical to the spirit of the network, and it is one of the very few scenarios where the original protocol has kind of failed. The incentives of the original system have failed. The theory was that mining would stay decentralized, but that's obviously has not been the case. And so the question that remains is what does that mean for the ecosystem? One of the things that the article points out is that this mining has been centralized for a long time on a lot of coins, probably far more than people were aware of. but the end result hasn't really been any substantial amount of malicious activity. We see chain attacks every week. That's one of the things we keep up with. So it's not like there's no malicious activity. But in general, the interests of these mega miners have sort of remained the same as they would have in a distributed mining environment.
Right. Well, I mean, you can imagine that people, companies, entities that invest a lot in mining research or manufacturing then have really quite a bit of interest in the chain running smoothly and things continuing forward, not like actually destroying it. Right.
Yep.
But I could also see the fear there where they can basically change their mind, so to speak, at any moment too.
I mean, they just have a huge amount of the cards. They have a level of power that they're not supposed to, right? They have the ability to disrupt the networks in a very meaningful way at their liberty. Their financial incentives tend to trend towards them not doing it, but just them having that power is something that makes people uncomfortable, probably for a good reason.
Yep.
So yeah, that's interesting. One thing that hasn't been touched on too much, and I am curious about, is the situation right now is that the financial incentives for people to develop ASICs and try and circumvent mining are extremely high. There's a really high level of research into it. There's not a comparably high level of research into the sort of maybe cryptographic defenses, algorithmic tweaks, and that kind of stuff that could potentially upset them. Obviously, there's the computer science question of whether it's fundamentally possible, regarding the specialization of hardware. That's one of the things that the article touches on. But I'd be curious if there might be some other solutions, or maybe some sort of a software solution that maybe hasn't been developed yet or hasn't been considered.
Sure.
But obviously, you can't really assume that something like that's going to come out either. You just kind of have to wait and see.
Well, I mean, and the bottom line, it sounds like, is for now, they're saying there's nothing you can do, right?
Right.
Especially as an individual small-time miner, what are you supposed to do? You can either play the game, the game, or you can say, I don't want to play this game. It's not fair.
Exactly, and the one important thing to realize is that this has been the game for a long time. So the game that you've been playing has been these rules, and if you thought it was fair, then just because it isn't what you thought it was, does that mean it's not fair? I don't know.
Right. Well,
so yeah, good article. Check it out.
Definitely worth the search. Again, there's the state of cryptocurrency mining. Next little news article here is this coin, Pied Piper token, which is based off of the TV show Silicon Valley. It looks like I found a clip where they make the token. So even though I don't watch this show, I'm gathering that this token is actually straight from the show.
This was like a weird alternate. This is like a reality gets blurred from fiction type situation, because they created there was an ICO on the show, and that was like a joke, but then somebody created the actual token that they made in the show, and then it was confusing for a while as to whether it was like a viral marketing or whether they were affiliated with HBO, or I couldn't tell. I honestly thought it was just like a HBO joking around with people about it or something.
I don't know if it had it before, though. On their Twitter it says not affiliated with HBO.
They do have that now, but
I don't know if it was there before or not.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I read the profile. That's a lot of research.
But either way, they made it into an actual token for sure. Whoever made these put together this marketing thing. It's not related to the HBO show, but it is a coin that they're distributing via an airdrop. So to me, it's just like some meme coin from a really popular show that I don't know anything about.
I think you pretty much summed it up. I think that's the best way to describe it. What else is going on in the news this week? Consensus is going on. That seems people like to really talk about it, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, for lots of people, it's an opportunity to meet up, and some coins can get exposure through it. I mean, it is just a lot of economic sort of money changing hands, probably, but it's there.
It's not a big...
I've never seen an industry that doesn't have that type of stuff, right?
Right, but I feel like one of the cool things about crypto is that you don't have to play that game. You don't have to be part of the networking.
Sure. Yeah.
You can, really participate in the system without it. But yeah, obviously for people who do enjoy that aspect of it, I would never begrudge them of the right to fly to New York City and talk about crypto.
Oh, of course not. I mean, I wish I could dream of something really cool that could come out of it. That would be a nice imaginary world for me. It's not like there's some light at the end of the consensus tunnel for everybody else. I think it really is just sort of a chance for people to get together and talk ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah, really, the only thing that I can remember from consensus is the 1 year. That's when Craig Wright claimed he was Satoshi. That's pretty funny. And then last year they did that joke Monero Enterprise Alliance video. That was pretty funny.
So maybe an Easter egg in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's good for one or two memes a year. That's about the end of consensus for my life, I guess. And I think that is going to wrap it up for the news this week.
Let's take a look at some market numbers and stuff.
Alrighty, we love talking markets. I finally got my Bitcoin crash that I've been waiting for. I kind of have.
You were waiting to go down like $1,000 or so.
Yep, exactly.
That's about what we did.
Yeah, it looks like we're down 9.49% on the week, minus $908.
Yep, from our last snapshot.
I'm looking at Ethereum. That's only down 6.5 this week, so actually a little better than Bitcoin, but still didn't manage to hold its ground versus US dollar.
And neither did the other coins, honestly.
Nope, they all gave up some ground.
So out of the top 300 coins on CoinMarketCap, only 47 of them were up against US dollar this week, and 97 of them were up against Bitcoin.
We have a median loss versus Bitcoin of about 5.4%, so majority of altcoins losing ground, not just versus US dollar, but also versus Bitcoin. But sort of the interesting ray of sunshine here is that the actual value of altcoins was pretty stable. As usual, the winners win more than the losers take off. And that actually gave us an average change of 0.5% gain versus Bitcoin for alts.
Weird.
So they did overperform Bitcoin by just the smallest imaginable amount.
Yep.
I guess really, so the takeaway for this, right, what does this mean? If you're somebody who's looking for like a mega alt season, if you go back to like the 2017 mega alt season, when we had a big run up on Bitcoin, the retrace week was actually an opportunity for alts to break out versus Bitcoin. And so we'd kind of have the dynamic back then is Bitcoin would be climbing and alts would be gaining a little bit but slipping a little bit versus Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin would retrace and then the alts would take off. And so if we had seen that this week where alts actually managed to make big gains with Bitcoin dropping,
yeah,
that would have been a sign of another huge alt season. We didn't get it. But on the other hand, if I'm looking for a bear market, we've had 5 weeks of alts gaining with Bitcoin, overperforming Bitcoin. What I would expect in a normal or neutral or bearish situation then is that when Bitcoin goes down, I want to see alts go down more than Bitcoin.
Right.
And so the situation that we have now where they actually held their ground versus Bitcoin, maybe gained a teeny amount. I would say overall that's actually strong for alts, but not like it's not mind-blowing or anything.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. As far as the actual gainers go, Lunar was up 87% this week. Bytecoin up 81% on that sweet Binance listing.
Great little Bytecoin pump this week.
Kin up 50%. Origin Trail up 58%. Huobi Token up 55%. And Nexo up 49%.
And this is just in the top 300, so I'm sure there's some big winners that we don't see below that. But
yeah, you can also win pretty big and not be up 49% as well.
Yeah, Lunar's pumping like right now as we speak. Pretty much that's been moving huge, which makes it easier to show up at the end of the week because usually those will average out and whatnot. It's pretty surprising to see Bytecoin holding that 81. That's a pretty solid gain, especially for something with already such a huge cap. But
did they sort out all the deposit withdrawal issues related to that listing? I know that I saw Poloniex reopen something.
I think the network is still moving again, but it's Bytecoin. It's never been a network that people really trust,
Right.
Bytecoin is what it is. Do your own research on that one, I feel like.
On the loser side of the fence in the top 300 this week, we're seeing Hydro Protocol down 33%, Paypex down 30%, TAAS, Token as a Service, down 30%, Bitcore down 25%, Cloak Coin down 22%, and Holo down 22%.
Yeah, that Hollow is one of those new ICOs. I think it's just it's coming down off of its listing bounce. Really not too bad of a week for the losers. I thought there would be some bigger blood with everything that's going on.
Right. That's a good point.
So we'll see. Alts tend to lag Bitcoin, so next week will still be meaningful. And obviously by the time you have enough data to really make a determination, it's too late. But so far I think this looks all right for altcoins this week.
Yeah.
Bitcoin, on the other hand, might be in trouble.
Maybe. I mean...
It looks good now.
I didn't feel like this was very unexpected. Kind of like you were saying, the narrative maybe had to be there no matter what, and maybe it was flimsy, flimsier
Right.
than people were really hoping it to be. But I don't know. We had just gone up quite a bit. So as somebody who just sits around and watches charts more than I should, I'm not surprised when something goes down pretty much ever at this point.
Yeah, and there doesn't, as we know, there doesn't have to be a reason. It's kind of a waste of time to look for one a lot of the time.
Right.
And I think really the action for me, the big takeaway is this doesn't change my opinion of anything really for the market. I'm not super bullish. I wouldn't be surprised to see some new lows for a little bit. I'm not a believer in like the 3,000 or anything, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this bear market stretch on for a couple more months. But
yeah, or bear market even just being kind of this neutral, nothing zone,
range bound. We've established a really solid. If you do like the VPVR charts and that kind of stuff, you can see the amount of volume that we have now between 6 and 12K is just huge, and it's going to be. It'll be pretty interesting to see what happens when we break out on either side of that, I guess.
Trading Bitcoin against US dollars is just terrifying. I just like to keep my Bitcoins. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, we like to focus on like
altcoins.
Yeah, we play in the weeds, obviously. Most of my US dollar Bitcoin trading is just to get exposure. Like if there's going to be a bull run, I just want to have some exposure to it. I'm not trying to actually do short-term intraday type stuff.
So an interesting market week there.
There you have it. We are going to jump next into the trivia.
Trivia question. Another shout out to Block Audit. That's at blockaudit.org on Twitter. They provide code reviews, penetration testing, one-on-one consultations for developers, basically just a resource for people who need help making sure their code is tight. And you can check out their website at blockaudit.org. And thank you again for the for the wager to give away.
That's wager with 2 R's. I think we're saying it right. I don't know if we are, but as usual, the way the trivia works is you're going to tweet the answer at our Chain Dynamics Twitter account. You have to tweet it to us during the show. If nobody gets it before the end of the show, we will carry the prize over into next week.
That's how it goes. And here comes the question. On what date did Poloniex remove their chat feature?
That's right. That question once again. On which date did Poloniex remove the troll box?
Yep.
That iconic Poloniex troll box. I really miss that thing. Can you imagine if Binance had a troll box?
Oh my gosh. They'd have to have a whole nother data center just for that thing to run.
The bots on it would be incredible. All right. Anyway.
Poloniex had part of their API allowed you to send messages to the chat box, so you could theoretically, let's say, have a bot that was trading a coin and shouting about it as well. I always thought that was quite fun. Funny.
I'm sure that no doubt that is what happened. But at any rate, yeah, tweet that to us here.
At Chain Dynamics is where you tweet it. All right, moving on.
So next up, we're going to go into our coin spotlight segment. Coin launches have been a little slow lately, so we've had a little bit of time over here at Chain Dynamics to continue our quest to get a better understanding of the world of ICOs.
And I guess we kind of knew this one was going to be a good one just because it has a lot of fans and the price has gone up so freaking much. Oh my goodness. We're going to take a look at ZRX.
The coin is ZRX. So last week we wanted to look at ICOs, so we just picked 2 random ones. The developers had both been to jail. It wasn't like they all had super weighted, all the stuff you don't want to see, super stacked rewards, that kind of stuff. So we thought we would instead this week just look at a coin that we know people like and see if we can find something a little more interesting that way.
That's right. And just real quick, we got a winner on the trivia, so we'll get at you after the show.
The answer to that question was June 7th, 2017 is when they got rid of the troll box.
Yep.
So going back to ZRX, we wanted to check one out that people had been liking. And so ZRX, this one, the ICO was in early August of 2017. So this was kind of in the middle of the ICO super mega frenzy when it was really starting to ramp up. This is a US-based one. And the idea for the project is that it's a protocol for decentralized exchanges on the Ethereum network.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So the
idea to make an open protocol for decentralized exchange on the Ethereum blockchain.
So the first thing that I wanted to do was research the nature and circumstances of the ICO. The first thing that kind of stood out to me is they never actually did a Bitcoin talk post on this. They never did like ICO countdown. They never went through any of the big channels. And for that reason, I don't think I even saw this until way after the ICO. Essentially, it was for the people who found out about it seemed to be the people that were into ICOs or kind of were good at networking or kind of had their nose to the grindstone in that way, which can be a little dubious at first. But when I went and looked for kind of more info about the launch and stuff, it actually seems like they did a really good job in terms of ICOs as far as handling a fair distribution or what I would consider to be a fair way of conducting it.
Well, that's good.
So, for instance, on the ICOs that we looked at last week, they all had these huge tiered incentives with like secret pre-sales, all this just stupid crap. With the ZRX ICO, it's just like it was one flat rate for everybody to get in. They had a cap on the amount that could be allocated per address, which of course is going to lead to a lot of people smurfing. But even then, they did some analytics and stuff to try to filter out some of those. So obviously, there's whales are going to get coins. That's what they do. And obviously, there's going to be ways for people to circumvent or manipulate the ICO structure. There's always the problem of the ability for people to self-buy, that kind of stuff. But in this case, it's nice to see essentially the contrast from the coins we looked at last week where they went through their due diligence to try to make it more fair.
That's nice.
And then one of the interesting outcomes of that is if you actually look at the market for it, the price action is actually, the chart looks more like a proof of work coin. And I think it's because if the coin is fully centralized through the ICO, the big whales, market makers and stuff don't really have this need to accumulate on the market. But when you have like a proof of work coin with a super high inflation, there's always that need to accumulate on the market in the early going. And you saw a similar dynamic with ZRX where it seems like whatever steps that they did take caused a greater distribution, and then you see a similar accumulation pattern on the market afterwards, which is just really healthy for a coin because it takes that window of time that you have to make a smart decision about it and stretches it out. Now you have weeks and months to analyze the project and potentially, look for something to like. So as far as that kind of stuff goes, it was actually a bit of a breath of fresh air for me with all the ICOs that I've looked at to see one that was run like this.
So fair in the sense that people who weren't going to invest $1 million got to invest something maybe.
Yep, but also in the sense of not having rose-colored glasses, all crypto markets are consolidated to a large degree.
Well, and then as a trader, this market or this chart is scary to me because it's already been going up for weeks. For me, I'm looking for. I got to wait for this to go down for a few weeks in a row before I can actually play ball.
Yeah, we see a chart like this and we know that there's a couple long downtrends and some people like to buy breakouts and uptrends.
Yeah, that's true.
And I tend to lean more towards.
I will occasionally. I could zoom in further, but I'm looking all the way at this weekly right now. I mean, it's done really well, and I can see the little accumulation phase you were talking about. But man, spikes are incredible. Yeah, so I looked into some of the, I guess, what the protocol meant, and they have a nice JavaScript library, essentially, that allows people to interact with the 0x protocol and the Ethereum blockchain. They call the people that would run this stuff relays.
Okay.
And what that really is essentially would be a place for people to create and settle orders and see order books. So kind of like we get back to, it's a way for people to create decentralized exchanges.
So the relay is running this library that the other people can access to use the relay to perform the functions of the exchange?
Yeah, and the front end of it could look like a lot of different things. That's really something that I think would be up to the person running the relay. And maybe, there's always the possibility that there would be some type of open source relay front end or something in the future where anyone could literally run a decentralized exchange. But more likely than not, if this were to work correctly, the people that are running the more premium exchanges, what would make those exchanges better is something about the way that they look or the way that they function, and that would be what that relay can charge their fee for, and that fee would be paid in 0x.
Okay, wow. I mean, it's an interesting model. It's nice to see that they have the economic model thought out there too, in that sense too.
Yeah, the 0x also, and aside from it being the payment for relays, they actually point out that its primary function is that they want it to be a way to decide what's going to happen next to the protocol development-wise.
Governance.
Yeah,
type
governance
thing.
token.
So, okay, it's the voting situation. That's
so it's all tied in there. Don't worry, they got it all for you, Brando.
That's an idea that we have yet to see truly work amazingly, but that doesn't mean that the problem can't be solved.
For sure.
That's cool, man. What was the level of development that you felt like on it? Like, could I download these libraries right now and start interacting with?
Yeah, I would say anybody with a medium level of JavaScript understanding could probably understand how to start using it, it looked like to me.
Is there any need for Solidity on the developer side, or does that go behind with the coin itself?
I guess I'm not sure. That was kind of maybe one of the confusing parts to me, is that the user would have to have the MetaMask installed, right? Because they have to kind of be have access to their Ethereum wallet to be running this software properly. Basically to be signing the orders that they're creating. Each order has a maker and a taker field in it, and if you're the person making the order, then the order has to be securely signed by the address in that maker field.
Okay, so I'm getting really in the weeds here, but does this mean that the balances private keys are still held, or do you have to transfer private key to a relay?
Well, see, that's where I get confused, because I think that the MetaMask deals with the private key.
Oh,
and I don't quite know how that all breaks down as far as interacting with it in relation to bringing another JavaScript library in and all of that. But all I can assume is that this is about as easy as it gets as far as getting that type of functionality inside of a JavaScript environment.
That's interesting. So it's libraries. Okay. My first question on this is like, why would I use ZRX and not just kind of sidestep it? But it's because of the libraries, I guess, right?
Yeah, and because it can share a universal system of order books and orders and things like that. So
interoperability.
Yeah, so these other exchanges, just because somebody goes through a different relay to create their order, there could be a potential system where your relay, for whatever reason, is very popular for settling orders, but not for creating them. I don't know why that would be. I'm just
right.
saying,
like, just thinking about the network.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Sweet.
So all that is pretty cool. You could kind of imagine that with that technology, you can create the most simple one is kind of the exchanges that we are used to. It looks like an exchange, and you would exchange Ethereum tokens there. But I think as what an Ethereum token is starts to grow a little bit, what this technology can actually create kind of gets a little bit more large. Like if we get to the point where other assets are being stored as Ethereum tokens and assets
through like an as yet conceived ERC standard or something.
Yeah, sure. Or if somebody for some reason wants to put their house as an ERC20 token, whatever.
Yeah.
But in that world, then this could just as easily facilitate the creation of something like a real estate portal or a gold purchasing website, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems like it's more ZRX is more about underpinning other projects.
Yeah, I think that's why they keep throwing this word protocol in there. They really want you to know that it's for building things.
Reminds me more like DNS or something, something that operates on another layer that maybe is opaque to most of the to end users, but derives its value out of the system.
Looks super useful. Looks like a really useful library.
I mean, again, with what I've been seeing for so long from ICOs, like I said, looking at ZRX really was refreshing in terms of the level of technology and that kind of stuff. I do have, the economic questions for me with a lot of these ICOs remain in terms of if they actually are good at their stated purpose. You would expect the value of the token to be driven down because they're actually doing what they're supposed to efficiently, right?
Right.
There shouldn't be a huge value there, but, this is crypto. That doesn't always matter that much at the end of the day.
Yeah. Time will tell.
So yeah, I was really excited to take a look at ZRX this week. The nice thing about it for me too is it kind of gives me a better framework for comparing ICOs to understand, get a better idea of what some of them are doing right as well.
Yeah.
And that is going to do it for our look at ZRX.
Next up, we're going to jump into those new coins.
New coins.
We can't stop.
We can't
You
stop.
guys know
looking
we
at new
can't stop.
Not too many new coins have slowed down a bit. They were really firing them off real big in like January, February, but
It's all just so trend following that it's kind of almost, that noise is kind of easy to ignore, honestly.
yeah, it's true. And when the new trend really hits it, it becomes obvious. You'll see the coins start to follow it immediately. But right now, I think we're kind of in a lull, waiting for another big, essentially probably another big pump on Binance or something to give these developers some ideas.
But nonetheless, we like to take a look at just a few miscellaneous new coins.
Going to start it off this week with Mouse Coin.
Mouse Coin.
Get yourself some Mouse Coin if you so desire.
Now, whenever a coin refers to a small animal, you can be sure that there are a lot of those coins. That's basically just a rule in this space.
It's true. It's an important rule in the space. You can't, especially rodent-based. If you're going to do any kind of rodent-based coin, you're going to want an extremely large supply.
So, with that said, looks like they're aiming for 92 trillion on this one. 92 trillion coins.
That's all right, because 92 trillion, you might be like, that's not quite enough, but they got a 250% stake in there just to make sure that supply grows exponentially.
Wow, that is a big stake.
But even though the supply is that large, if you actually look at the parameters, it's only an 11. That number's bullshit, essentially, because there's only 1,100 coins per block. There's only 9,200 proof of work blocks, so the proof of work reward is actually in the, 7-8 figures or something.
Yeah, so getting this thing staking early probably would have been the way to get the most out of it.
Yeah, and that 92 trillion number is probably just the max money, so it's not even real. It's not enforced.
Yeah, when it would take so long to get there anyway. Well, that 250% could get you there probably pretty quick, actually. Who knows?
It'd be on the decades. It'd be on the order of decades. But at any rate, the coin is out there. It's Mouse Coin. It's an SHA 256.
MIC3.
And otherwise, it's very generic. Don't expect too much, and you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, perfect.
We had that Pied Piper coin we mentioned a little bit, but it's an airdrop that was based on the meme from the HBO episode. You could sign up for it. I didn't do it, but
I don't like signing up for things that make me sign in on my Google account. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Just can't do it.
I'll pass. If I had like a dummy Google account, it would be easier for me to mess with that stuff. But.
Yeah, I mean, that's easy to do. I just literally... no excuses. I just didn't do it. Whatever.
In my case, the airdrop was over by the time I realized that it wasn't just a show marketing or something.
Another new coin this week was WolfClover Coin.
WolfClover Coin.
that is a name.
You're going to need WolfClover Coin. Well, I mean, you can imagine a future where all currency is replaced by WolfClover Coin, can't you?
I noticed that down here in the specifications, it's only called Clover Coin. Is it actually possible that this person just left the word wolf in?
The word wolf places? Appears in multiple places.
Yeah.
But so does just calling it Clover Coin.
That is weird.
I don't know. It's
So let's see. Stat wise,
No pre-mine, no ICO. We like that, right?
Yeah.
This is a really generic. I think it's a Litecoin.
Another large POS, 90%. I think that's just too high, personally. At least for any long period of time. Like maybe the first year or something, if they actually plan to switch it. But
I remember. Okay, so this is a short proof of work, just 10,000 blocks, and then proof of stake.
Yep.
And then when they launched it, it was already half mined.
Oh,
So
well,
it's
that's not good.
One of those gimmicks.
Tricky.
Tricky.
All right, up next, Secert Coin.
This is a crypto note coin of the week.
Obviously, I feel pretty special just to know about this because it's a secret coin.
Yeah, it's a secret coin. They launched it on the relatively unknown platform of Bitcoin Talk that definitely doesn't have bots trolling it day in.
This
day
is
out.
a fork of Sumo Coin.
Indeed,
which is one of the survivor crypto notes out there.
It's really the story of the year for new coins this year is Crypto Note. There had been Crypto Note clones have been coming out, as we know, since we started looking at coins years ago.
Yeah.
They've been knocking out these Crypto Note coins, but almost none of them have ever gone anywhere, with the obvious exception of Monero. But that changed basically this year. In the past 6 months or so, we started to see a ton of projects come out with Crypto Note.
Mm-hmm. So beyond that, it looks like it really is just a clone. So they're not leaning on much except trying to attract miners, I suppose.
Yeah, clone of a clone of a clone, and then they take a cut of every block. So that's about what you'd expect.
Dynamics Coin.
Woo! We just had to throw a Dynamics Coin in here because
there's definitely been other Dynamics Coins, right? I feel like that's not a...
there was a Dynamic Coin,
mm-hmm.
but I believe this is the first Dynamics Coin.
Well, this is a cryptocurrency with lightning fast payment confirmations.
So fast you wouldn't believe it. 1 minute. The normal time.
X11.
It's not actually a good coin. I just put it in here because the name Dynamics is the name of our show.
X11 1 minute blocks.
That's pretty much it.
So, all right.
I think it's just like a big pre-mine, big dumb stuff.
Big pre-mine. All right. Ether 1.
Ether 1. This is an Ethereum clone. Ethereum clone of the week, I guess. This is going to be a new category.
People really are cloning Ethereum a lot.
It's an Ethereum clone with masternodes, so it's another Pearl/Achroma type legacy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely falls in that category.
But otherwise it looks the same as all the others, so with each iteration they lose a little bit of punch. You never know which one's going to have something hidden in store, but if you like these Ethereum masternode clones, then you should be aware of it, I guess. And
looks like our final new coin of the week is Zephyr.
Zephyr. ASIC friendly. I thought I'd throw this in there. This is a crypto night coin, but it's they kept the original one that the ASICs are out for, and that's what they're selling it as. Like, oh, we're the crypto note coin for
the ASICs.
People with ASICs, but they got the 6% development fee, which is pushing it. And otherwise, obviously, really generic.
Interesting. Yeah, there's not really much there. It's like, yeah,
it's just a coin.
Yeah. Got a few pools at least. Seems like there's a lot of small pools these days popping up.
Yeah, the libraries that people use to build the pools have gotten really, I think, friendly for people to set up. So there's
just easier for people to get involved.
Yep.
Nice. All right, so definitely nothing too exciting on the new coin front. That Pied Piper coin airdrop probably will be fine for people that got in there.
It probably is honestly the best opportunity of the week from the stuff that I'm seeing. Otherwise, that mouse coin, it's dumb, but it's the kind of stupid stuff that I
mean, if you had started staking right off the bat, you'd probably already be having a lot of mouse coin.
Yeah, but it's one of the it's depressing when you see a coin within the week of it being launched and it's already too late to participate.
Yeah, that never feels great. Catch you on the swap.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, let's go into the coin listings.
Here we go.
We like to take a look at just not all of them because there's quite a few exchanges these days. Some select exchanges. What are they listing?
Actually,
let's find out.
To be fair to Mouse Coin, it looks like the proof of work actually goes for about 9 weeks. So it's not too late.
No, it's not too late. But you staking. I was just saying staking early is the way to go with that high of a stake rate.
So true. Okay, sorry. Derailed.
No sweat. First up, Binance. They listed Bytecoin, causing quite the stir, and they also listed Augur.
substantially smaller stir.
Yeah. People were like, no, that's chill.
It's an ERC20. It just works.
Yep. Bitrix listed Bloom. And, of course, they had to make the bacon, lettuce, tomato joke because
they can't help. You know, he probably already spends too much time coming up with those puns. So I really can't fault him for going with the low-hanging fruit.
I'm not trying to fault him. Cryptopia listed OxyCoin.
Alrighty.
Coin Exchange listed OLV, CAZ Coin, and Exolution.
Over on South Exchange, they added Comp Coin.
That can't be the right one. Can't be the same one.
I don't know.
The old one. Livecoin listed Fire Lotto, Wager, and Skychain.
Hey. Over there on Trade Satoshi, they added FlapX Coin, the swap from Flappy Coin. They added Bitcoin Supreme. So if you wanted some tomatoes and sour cream on your Bitcoin,
yeah.
instead of the plain old crunchy Bitcoin, get yourself a little bit of Bitcoin Supreme.
And they listed ATCC, and they listed Cheese Coin, too. That could go on the Bitcoin Supreme.
Yeah, I only have cheese on my Bitcoin Supreme, actually. I usually get it no tomatoes.
Sweet.
That's it for the listings this week. Pretty typical stuff. Seems like Binance is just, they're doing their thing one or two a week. And it kind of seems like a lot of what everyone else is doing doesn't seem to matter that much lately.
No. All right. Coin birthdays. We got a sweet 2-year birthday for Lana Coin.
Lana Coin launched May 11th, 2016.
And that makes Lana 12 years old, I believe.
Congratulations to Lana.
And Lana Coin.
And her dad, the guy who made it.
Yep.
So, yeah, kudos to you.
Last year, they were at 41 Bitcoin market cap. This year, Lana Coin is at 72 Bitcoin market cap.
Congratulations to Lana Coin. And there you have it. That's going to wrap it up here for us at the Blockchain Dynamics Show. Want to thank everybody for listening. Congratulations once again to the trivia winner.
Yep, I'll get at you after the show on Twitter. So yeah, this was episode number 94. Check us out on blockchaindynamics.net for archives, and we will see you next week with way heavier bags. Bye.
Currency. Stuck a couple Bitcoins. Money, pull up on my Nakamoto.